Cut it.
Welcome to the NZ Ahead podcast. Everything you need to know about moving to and living in New Zealand.
There's a whole world here.
So nice to be with you again.
We call it Aotearoa around here, bro.
You'll be right.
We are your hosts, Liz and Brian.
Amazing New Zealand in the southern seas.
See, that's where I belong. That's home.
Hello and welcome to the NZ Ahead podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And today we've got some really exciting guests to share with you. Yeah. You're going to meet Floss and Dez. They are members of our private NZ Ahead community, and they are very, very special because... Why are they special, Brian?
Because you know why? They took 3 years to sail on a boat through all the COVID restrictions going around the world, through the Panama Canal, etc., and all these things, and it took them 3 years to get to the destination of New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how about that, hey? When you think you've got it bad, you're moving to New Zealand, you're like, oh, but how am I going to do the 18-hour flight?
24-hour flight.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's took these guys 3 years
with
to get here.
With 2 teenage boys as well.
Yeah. You're in for such a treat these next few episodes, or the next couple of episodes, because in this episode, you're going to meet the mum and dad, Floss and Dez, and they are from England. And like I say, their story is just fascinating, because they only decided to move to New Zealand, like I think it was 3/4 of a way into their trip, didn't they? They just said,
I think they had an idea, but let's
let them tell you what they come up with. Exactly, yeah. Before we jump on in, let me remind you, if you want to become a member of the NZ Ahead membership community that Floss and Dez are a part of, you can take our free 5-day video guide. Take those videos, watch them, absorb them, enjoy them. We spent hours making them, and they're all about life in New Zealand. And when you get to day 5, you'll be given the option to become a paid member of our community. Once you're in that community, you receive hours and hours of videos, unreleased podcasts, interviews with newly arrived immigrants from all over the world, and they're here in New Zealand. It's fabulous stuff. So to get those free 5-day video guides, go to www.nzahead.com/free.
That's /free, FREE. And don't forget as well, the NZ Ahead podcast is going to a fortnightly podcast, or it will be on a fortnightly podcast. And if you want more podcasts, because we do monthly podcasts and behind the scene podcasts in the NZ Ahead community, and that's in the guide with all the videos and things like that. So if you want more content like this that you're listening to, but a little bit more behind the scenes with in-depth views, like Liz was saying, with people who are here in New Zealand already or are still trying to get over here as well. So don't forget to jump on in and join the community at NZ Ahead. So that's www.nzahead.com/free. You're going to love it. You really will.
Okay, let's jump on in and meet Floss and Dez.
Cut it.
Right, shall we jump in then?
Yeah.
So,
have we not started?
Yeah. We're basically just going to chat and record it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, just like we were doing.
Yeah, just like we were doing. So probably best if one of you just jump in and introduce yourself.
Do you feel nervous sitting in front of the camera?
Of course I don't. They're next to you, Brian.
No,
they're
you've got your lovely soft hands.
Yeah, lovely soft plain hands.
Yeah. So I was talking about holding Floss's hands while we did this, and she goes, "No, sod off. That'll look weird. But I'll hold Brian's hand, and that'll be nice." Come on.
Just holds Brian's hand.
Stop it, boys. You're making me freaky.
Okay.
So Flossie, go on. Introduce yourselves.
Okay. We are Des and Floss and Sam and Evan, and we have sailed here to New Zealand on our own boat from the UK. And it's taken us about 3.5 years, and that's about it, really. And that's what we want to talk about.
How much do you need to know?
That's it.
Do you know what? Before
It's a wrap.
we start,
That's a wrap.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Before we start, doesn't it just blow you away how, and I don't know if you're doing this because you're British or you're doing this because you seriously think what you've just done isn't flipping mind-boggling amazing. Because whenever we talk about it, you're like, oh yeah, we sailed to New Zealand on a boat, big deal. Why do you want to talk to us on the podcast?
Yeah. kind of, and also we meet lots of other people that are kind of doing the same thing as us. So
yeah, but when you say lots, you're not talking hundreds, are you?
No. Well, no.
It's a handful, really, isn't it?
It's a handful. Yeah. But there are still a lot of people doing what we're doing. So it doesn't feel unusual to us, does it anymore? Although it kind of is.
Well, it obviously is. But meeting you guys and then talking about, well, you're writing a book and you've got these courses and you're doing this and you're doing that and you're doing all of this YouTube stuff. To us, this is far more out there than what we do.
Yeah.
Because we're just a family of 4 people who went backpacking with the kids when they were little because we just wanted to do the backpacking thing. And then when we got back from backpacking, we didn't really settle back into being at home. So we'd spent this year with the kids having just a fantastic time. Every day was amazing. And we built all those memories up, and we got such a close relationship with the kids that coming back and the kids immediately going back into the same school, I went and got a job, which meant I was away from home 4 days a week. Floss went back to work, same job she had before, and nothing had changed. All of their mates said, "Oh, you're back. Was it fun?" And they go, "Yeah." Right, that's the end of that. We're not going to talk about that anymore. And being British about it, it's really difficult to say, "Oh yeah, but you've been where you are for 12 months, but we've done all this amazing thing. Let's tell you about when we were in Vietnam." And it's really hard because they can't. There's nothing to pin that on. And we didn't settle, and we just came up with this stupid idea: why don't we buy a boat and do it again? Because having a boat gives you a base. And one of the hardest things we found about backpacking was every night you have to find somewhere new to live, and then when you get up in the morning you have to find somewhere new to have breakfast, and then have somewhere to lunch and somewhere for dinner and all this stuff, and it's just exhausting after 12 months. And we thought with a boat it'd be easier because you've always got somewhere to go to sleep and somewhere to have breakfast and lunch and stuff.
How wrong you are.
Yeah,
I've got so many questions about that, so let me just stop you a minute and let me just ask you, first of all, what do you do for a job? What do you both do for a job?
I was an audiologist back
An
in the
audiologist.
UK, so I used to work in a hospital in Portsmouth, fitting hearing aids, really.
Right.
and I do IT work.
Right. And what year was it you took the kids back? So back IT and audiologist.
Yeah, so we went backpacking when they were 8 and 10,
Mm-hmm.
which was it
2015.
2015.
2015.
Yeah.
Came back in 2017, 2016?
2016. Yeah.
Bought the boat in 2017.
Right.
And left in 2018.
Right.
So we had the boat about 15 months or so,
Yeah.
which was just enough time to get it seaworthy and ready to disappear off around the world.
How did you afford to go backpacking around the world for a year? How did you pay for that?
I changed my job. So I did work for a large company, and we had this conversation about going backpacking, and it's sort of, this typical approach. Certainly in my business is, well, I'll come up with a spreadsheet and work out how much that is going to cost. Yeah. So we came up with a spreadsheet.
I love spreadsheets.
Oh,
I love spreadsheets. They're the best.
Yeah, and they can tell you any version of the truth that you want to put in.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You just lie a bit about that figure and that's right.
That's not enough and that's too much. And the version of the truth we came up with.
The version of the truth is that you're going to have to get a better paid job if we're going to do this.
Yeah. So that's what I did. I went to my employer and said, I want to do this, and for us to do that we have to earn this. And I can't do it working for you, so unless we can have a pay rise, then I'm going to have to go and work somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right.
We also rented the house out and it sold everything we owned.
Yeah.
So you made a bit of money on the rental and...
Yeah, so you can offset the rental of the house and stuff, but fundamentally it came down to we don't earn enough money for us to take 12 months off and go backpacking. So something has to change. So the easiest thing to change, because of the industry I'm in, is I'll just go and get a job that earns more money. And if that means I have to work away for a bit of time, it's a short-term thing with a definite goal. So that's what we'll do. Yeah. And that's what we did. Earned the money. The spreadsheet said you need this much money. Once we got that much money, off we went.
Right.
Yeah. And that was it.
And just to put people in the picture, so Floss and Dez are both writers. They've got a brilliant blog called Growing a Pair, and also a YouTube channel, and we can talk about that later if you like. But that's how I met you, Floss, wasn't it? Because you were in a blogging group.
Yes.
And
trying to set up the travel website.
Yeah, that's right. We were both interested in building a travel site, weren't we? So that's how we met. And I remember following you. You went before us, obviously, and I remember following all your adventures, and I was just like, I want to do that so badly. And the fact that you'd taken the kids and you'd been to Vietnam, and it was so inspiring. So that just gives you an idea of how we met this couple, and now here you are in our home.
Which is a bit weird, because that must have been in 2014 or something when we were setting that up.
No, we met you after you'd been travelling, and you were back home in England.
Really?
So it would have been 2017.
Okay.
2017, and I was reading all your stuff, and it was like making me it just kept me going, and we talked about that last night, about going to Vietnam and things like
and
that.
And then we've carried on following you on social media, and you followed us on social media.
Yeah, so we're following each other.
And now, several years later, we're sitting in your house in New Zealand, which is quite weird.
And we're going to get to how you came to New Zealand on your boat in a minute. But so here you are, you've returned back to England, feeling like you say, this is just not for us, because you've had this massive adventure. Whose idea was it to go, I know? And also, are you sailors?
So no, we're not sailors. We'd never stepped on a boat until we bought a boat. But when we were backpacking with the kids, we were in Koh Lanta in Thailand, and we'd been on this tour, seeing some caves and stuff. And in the harbour, there was this beautiful 50-foot perfect white ketch. It was absolutely immaculate. It was the most beautiful boat we'd seen in the most beautiful harbour in the world. Yeah. And we both clocked it, but neither of us said anything for 3 days. And there was the kids were mucking about on the beach or something, and we said, "Did you see that boat in the harbour?" He goes, "God, that's beautiful. Wouldn't it be brilliant if you had a boat? Because then you could do all of this, but you wouldn't have to worry about where you were going to sleep or what you were going to eat and all that stuff." Yeah. And we talked to the kids about it, and we stupidly said, "If we buy a boat, what do you think we should call it?" And once you'd given it a name, because we were going to call it Adventure Inn, because it's like adventuring, but also it's going to be like a pub, so we could get drunk every night, and it would be brilliant, and all this stuff. It'd be like a holiday resort type thing.
Floating holiday resort.
A floating holiday resort, because that's how we imagined it to be. And that kind of stuck with us. But when we got back from the backpacking, I got a job working away in Sweden. So I spent 4 days a week in Sweden, which meant Floss was at home 4 days a week with the kids. And once, because the kids were little, they would be in bed by 7:30, 8 o'clock. And then there's nothing to do but watch YouTube. And on YouTube, there are all these sailing families doing all this amazing stuff with kids on beautiful 50-foot ketches. And it was like, well, actually, it's not impossible, is it? It must be possible, because these people are doing it. Yeah. So Floss spent every evening looking at websites about buying boats, how do you sail boats, how do you take your kids.
Research.
Tons and tons of research.
Even though we didn't know how to sail.
But that's the thing, how do you go about choosing your boat? Because, there's hundreds of boats out there. And, you're not just going sailing. You're going to the other side of the world and maybe back again. Yeah. And so, you're going to have if I spoke to my brother who lives in Florida and he's got a yacht electronic company, he would never go to sea in a fiberglass boat. It would have to be made of at least aluminium, if not steel.
What's yours made out of?
Fiberglass.
Oh, what do you say to that then? Here they are in New Zealand.
It's proof they work.
There you go, Dave. Don't be so cynical. Hey?
But that depends on the type of boat you're getting.
Yes.
So boats, buying a boat is a bit like buying a car. So, how did you choose that you were going to buy that Peugeot?
Liz likes it.
Because it had a really cool number plate.
Colour.
I can't believe you bought a car.
I know.
That's such a
Don't say it on the world.
No, absolutely no. But
I get stalked.
It's such a coincidence that car came with that number plate.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So you want to know what made them choose that boat? What was it? Because it looked nice, or you just did loads of research, or
no? We did loads of research, and every boat is a compromise. So for our budget, we had a very small budget. So we could either get quite a new boat, so a new production boat, a newer production boat, or but they're not quite as safe, so they're much thinner fiberglass, and they're not really designed for going out into oceans. Or we could get something which was much more sturdy, much thicker hull, have everything you kind of need, but it's going to have to be 30 years old. So there was a massive compromise. And we went for the older boat, basically, which has a really thick hull and is built for ocean going stuff, but obviously is old. So there was a lot of research into that, and there's a big argument about whether it's blue water capable, and there's lots of opinions, very strong opinions about what you should go around the world in.
Yeah.
But having said
when you say blue water, that just means deep. Do you mean?
Yeah, sort
right.
of properly offshore.
Yes,
so big pastures and proper.
But it'd be like an idiot to go into like a car sales place who knows nothing about a car and going, oh, I don't know. Well, I mean,
are you talking about me now?
Well, no, because like you know everything about cars.
Yeah.
You know everything about everything, but
well, he's not. He bought a Peugeot. He clearly doesn't know that much about cars.
Yeah, it's like someone said to me, "You want a French car? Move to France."
Let's just pretend you didn't know everything about everything, Brian. You didn't know about those. I don't know. Weren't you like when you went to look at it? What did you just like pull up the side or? Yeah, so
kick the fenders.
Yeah, kick the fenders.
Well, no, you can't do that. People get really shitty if you start kicking things on a boat.
I don't know. It must have been like so scary to turn up and just
and in hindsight, I knew nothing. So
and you'd never sailed before.
No.
Yeah.
No. But also, with hindsight, we now have lots of people we know who have done exactly the same trip as us in those much smaller production boats. And they're absolutely catamarans, which are just designed to be sitting in a marina and not offshore stuff. So in the long run, it probably doesn't matter that much.
Right.
But we went for one of those boats. But no, I didn't know. I didn't really know. And I did all the looking around for boats. So because Des was
it
working,
you?
so I did all the searching. And then
what's that look mean?
Yeah.
I knew it'd be the woman.
It would
it might have been. Oh my god, you lazy slacker.
Now I know you a bit better. I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Did you always know that you were...
Can we explore that a little bit further?
I'm only kidding. Did you always know that you were going to go to New Zealand and travel this, like, the length of the earth, or did you didn't?
No, so... I joked this morning over breakfast that actually we've got here, but we were looking for Portugal. Because you asked about navigation. So how do you navigate? Yeah. No idea. We missed Portugal altogether.
Oh,
if you know it, do you know where it is? Because we
love it.
Yeah, you never found it. Yeah, you just ended up in Panama.
Yeah, exactly.
Des thought we might get as far as Portugal.
Right.
I thought I was pretty determined we'd get as far as the Canary Islands.
Yeah.
But neither of us thought we'd get across the Atlantic.
So basically, when you set off, you headed south. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Basically,
and you didn't just go straight over.
What did you tell your family? What did you say? Oh, bye, we're going to the Canary Islands and we'll be back in 3 months, or what?
We knew we knew we could stay. Shut up.
Well, I'm just thinking.
I'm still thinking about the boat ride.
No, you're going to say something inappropriate.
No,
we like it when they do that.
I'm just thinking that your mum's going to watch this and my mum's going to watch this, and there's a risk that we may have told our respective parents slightly different versions of what we were thinking.
Oh, okay.
So what did you tell your mum? Oh shit!
I told the truth. I told them we had a budget. We thought we could keep going on the money we had saved. We could keep going on a very tight budget for 2 years at a maximum, and we just kind of thought we'll see how far we get in 2 years. But
so can I just stop you? I just have to put this umbrella over because I can see all the what's the names lenses coming into the sun.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Oh man,
they're just going to go. Take 2 seconds.
They're going to go flash.
Oh yeah, you've got to get your stories right. Are you serious about that as well?
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit.
Well, only because, not really.
That's it, Brian.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
it's because but okay, you need to mic back up.
You mic him, yeah.
I'll mic him back up. And then you go.
We could time this as well. How will
sorry, 14 minutes.
Okay. Oh, we started at 12.
Yeah.
Go on then.
I think the discussing it thing. For me, I was quite slow and progressive with what I explained to my mother about what we were doing, and it was.
So did you lie?
No.
No.
Nothing I said was untrue. It's just I might not have told her the whole truth. And certainly not to start with.
Was that because you thought she'd be worried?
Yeah,
That's fair enough.
And I know she was worried when we took the kids backpacking. She was worried about a general safety thing because we said, well, we're going to go to Vietnam and Laos and all these other places and India, and she thought, well, that's got dangerous written over it.
Yeah.
And the whole we're going to buy a boat, and then we're going to take the kids out of school again, which was a big worry for her.
Right.
So if I said we're going to buy a boat, sell everything we own, we're going to disappear, and we don't know where we're going or how long we're going for, and we'll probably teach the kids something on the way, that would have been a massive red flag.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was, we're thinking about buying a boat. We've bought a boat. We're going to do a bit of sailing.
A bit. Yeah.
I'd just like to point out we did have a school plan.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And
Making it up as we read along.
Yeah, but you explain these things, and it's just a way of broaching it. Yeah. And as Floss says, we didn't actually have any idea what we were going to do. So there was with the backpacking, there was we have this amount of money, and the spreadsheet says we can go for this amount of time.
Yeah,
and that was it. And we organised it with work to say we'll have a year off, and told the school we'll take a year off.
Yeah.
But this was much more open-ended. There was no end point.
Yeah.
But you sort of gave yourself 2 years, did you say? Yeah.
Yeah.
How much was your budget for 2 years to live on a boat and sail around for 2 years? How much would you give yourself?
What was it?
The budget for the boat.
As in, to live for 2 years, 4 people sailing. What sort of budget do you allow for that?
I can't remember what it was. Can you remember what it was?
Yes.
We spent ages looking on the internet.
Spreadsheet out. Why is it not here with you?
Well, it's all here. If I hadn't spent the last hour and a half eating breakfast with you guys, I could have done
your research.
Have done a bit of bloody research. So what we did, we had a budget for the boat, which I think was £100,000.
Yeah.
To buy the boat and fix.
It was 90 actually.
Was it 90?
Because we remortgaged the house.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we remortgaged the house, and we had £90,000 to buy the boat and fix what might have been wrong with it, and put all the good stuff on that we wanted, which was enough to buy the boat with and do nothing else. Right. And then we worked out, I think it was going to be, is it about £100 a day we settled on?
£100 a day.
Yeah. And it was just a case of, well, if you spend £100 a day, we think we can probably go for 2 years.
Yeah.
But if we end up spending £150 a day or £200 a day, then clearly it shrinks down to 1 year.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the open-ended nature.
Right. Of it. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's something that's like really. I always want to know how much I've spent. Like when we went travelling around the world for a year, it cost us about 70,000 New Zealand dollars. For a year.
Yes, and I think we were the same.
That's about exactly what we spent.
Yeah, because we were also on a budget of £50 a day then.
So same then, isn't it? So I just wondered if that cost came down because you were on a boat and you weren't like paying for trains and buses and activities and stuff like that, whether that cost had come down or not.
No, it went up.
No, it doesn't. It goes up. Yeah,
right.
So it's more expensive than more expensive than.
Yeah, I think the expense comes from if you buy something and it's for a boat, then there's an extra tax added on top. So if it's a marine grade pump, then it'll be £400. Whereas if it's just a domestic pump for a dishwasher, it'll be £50.
Yes,
it's the same pump. It's just got marine written on it, so it becomes more expensive.
That's a rip-off, isn't it?
Did anybody tell you about what boat means?
Yes.
You did. Yes. Break out another thou.
Because you don't get anything for less than 1,000.
Yeah, or as my brother David again calls it, a hole in the ocean.
It is. Yeah. That's exactly right.
Then.
Oh
no, it's not that. I'm not being that. I'm just saying.
It is
because you learn those things,
throw
don't
money
you?
into.
Because like you're saying, the marine stuff. Why is it so much more expensive?
It's true.
You know, it's like made of stainless steel. It's like
because
and 1,000 is one boat unit, so that's how we used to measure things, isn't it?
We stopped counting.
We stopped counting in pounds. We counted them in boat units when we were doing.
Oh, there's so much I want to ask you, and I just want to go on to the school thing in a minute, but I just want to ask you, and also, by the way, we were desperate to interview Sam and Evan together, but we're sort of a little bit squashed.
Yes, and the umbrella is only so big.
Yeah, so we are hoping to get a separate interview with them. Hopefully that's going to happen, so you are going to get to see the kids as well, but I've just still got to get my head around this. So... You've never sailed in your life, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, God. And here you are, and you've got your kids, and you're going to get on the boat and go for 2 years, hopefully. What was it like the first time you stepped on that boat and went, bye, and pulled away from the earth, from the land?
Yeah.
And that was it then? It was like, this is it. How did that feel? Did you at any time go, oh my God, we don't know what we're doing? We don't know what we're doing here.
Oh, yeah, every day.
But did you do any? Did you do any practicing at all?
Oh God, yeah.
You did.
Yeah, exactly. It would be completely irresponsible if we'd done no practice.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you did.
No, we did. We
before you went on your
on somebody else's boat or on yours?
well, we did a RA. What's it called?
Day skipper.
Day skipper.
Yeah.
But we first did competent crew, and then we did day skipper, and the boys did competent crew. So they did this. And competent crew is just this is the pointy end, and this is the blunt end, and this is a rope. That's pretty much all you get.
Yeah.
But it gave them quite a lot of confidence. And then we did day skipper, which gives you all the very basic navigation stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so you weren't completely and utterly like
no, not at
me
all.
getting on a boat or whatever. No, you did know some
But
stuff.
didn't your sort of teacher turn around and go, "Don't rely on GPS"?
No.
Ours did. Oh, mine did. Because you can't rely on that because the military put it out by so many meters a day.
Maybe 20 years ago.
Not anymore.
I know. That's what,
Yeah.
I know, but that's
Yeah.
that most people would be like, "What? You can't navigate, or you're unsure."
Yeah,
of
I know what you mean.
Yeah, because
no, not really, because the weather forecasts now are amazing.
Yeah.
If 5 days ahead, it's really accurate. All the AAS stuff that is you can see other boats coming from 5 miles away, and all the navigation stuff is all
Electronic.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I could see you because you can track these guys when they were out sailing on Predict Wind, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to send us the link and stuff, but you could see these sort of storms out at sea and the weather systems, and you were like
skirting around them,
going through them, like and it's like, so do you plot that course yourself, or do you have a computer that goes, "This is your best course"?
Yes, and yes to both.
Both.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So the Predict Wind package.
Yep.
Provides you with the raw weather information.
Yeah.
But you can also say we're here and we want to sail there, and it's like a GPS for the sea. It'll plot a route through the weather.
And the currents in the sea as well.
If you pay them more money, it'll put currents in as well. Yeah.
Right.
But you can get current information from other sources.
Right.
So Predict Wind gathers all this information, which is essentially free because it's given away by governments.
Right.
And then it packages it all together and then presents it in an easy to use fashion.
Wow.
So all the stuff we learnt about navigation on our day skipper course we haven't used.
You haven't used.
Me neither.
Because you don't need to. Really.
But I think...
we have it if we need to. So we could get a paper chart and we could plot our own way.
Which we did. When we came across the Atlantic. We had a couple of guys come across with us, and one of those guys brought a sextant on board.
Oh, wow.
So every day at 12 o'clock, Sam and Andy would sit on the back of the boat and they'd try and take a sight of the sun, and then they'd do all this maths and say, we think we're here. And I'd have taken the GPS position, and over the course of the 2 weeks, they started off 60 miles out, and by the end of it, they were within 15 miles.
Wow.
And, within 15 miles is plenty accurate enough for you to find Barbados, which is where we were looking.
But not Portugal.
No.
So you were in New Zealand?
Yes, exactly. Well, Andy wasn't with us on the way to Portugal.
Oh, right.
So perhaps if we'd set off from Falmouth with Andy on board, we could be in Portugal.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
The reason Brian took his day skipper course back in 1978?
Rude.
Well, it was because it was
Very rude.
it was before we had kids, and I bought it as a birthday present, didn't I? The reason I bought that was because we had a dream of going around in a yacht, and to be honest, who doesn't? Who wouldn't want to get on a yacht? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that's what I'm so inspired by you guys, and so in awe because you did it. I mean, everyone dreams of going on a yacht and going around the world, don't they?
Oh yeah, totally.
But actually getting from your house and buying a yacht and then getting on it and then sailing is something else.
Yeah, actually doing it.
And what's really I don't know if the word is a bit of a trickster, is when we watch you on YouTube, you look like you really know what you're doing.
We don't.
You look so professional. And we're like...
I've only got my head in my hands.
Yeah.
So Des is often crying, is it not? Because the engine's not working again.
Yeah, that must be...
Yeah,
because you did have some problems, didn't you? And that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, so what was your biggest problem at sea?
Well...
Which one do you want to...
So we've never had a problem that has put us in actual danger.
Yeah.
So stuff goes wrong on a boat all of the time, and it's just a level of inconvenience and stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things about sailing is you get to a point and there's nobody there to help. You can't ring the AA up. It's not like,
no,
I've got a flat tyre, I can't change
the
wheel.
helicopter can't come out that far.
No one's coming to get you. And it's just a question of, we'll just deal with it then, kids.
Yeah.
So obviously there's a lot of water coming into the boat because this thing's broken. So while I'm fixing that calmly and in a very professional fashion, and in no way losing my mind or swearing a lot, children, would you mind awfully just pumping the bilge for me, sweetheart? And would you mind pumping it a little bit faster?
That's not how I remember it.
No, that's not. No, but as a family, you just kind of pull together and get on with it.
Yeah.
And to answer the question that you asked 10 minutes ago, how did you feel when we left?
Yes, before Brian interrupted.
Sorry. Yes.
I'm not sure it was your fault, actually. I think it was.
That's all right, just say
she was going off
Just say
piste.
it.
You have to go off track sometimes. Bit like the boat.
Yeah.
I felt an enormous sense of relief that when we actually left Portsmouth and we were going, so the house was sorted, we'd sold the cars, we'd both sorted work out, they were out of school, we had plans for schooling and everything, and we knew we had to get from Portsmouth to Falmouth in 10 days to pick
my brother up.
Uncle Adam up, who was going to help with the first passage across Biscay. It's like, right, all of that really hard stuff about selling everything you own, which is emotionally really difficult, and taking the kids out of school, which I knew they found difficult. That's all done. So now we can get on with having the fun bit.
Yeah.
And that was just an immense sense of relief for me.
I was quite the opposite there. I was terrified.
You were terrified, were you?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of excited and scared at the same time, because we did think we probably didn't really know what we're doing, and we really should have waited another season and done a bit more practicing in the boat before we left. But it had got to the point where the kids are of an age now, and if we don't go now, we probably won't go.
I was going to say, how old were the kids when you left?
11 and 13.
Yeah,
11 and 13.
Yeah.
And how did they take to you saying, we're going to take you out of school? And I mean, I know they're travellers anyway, because they've already been around the world for the year and everything, but how did they take to going and living on a boat and mum and dad sailing away with them?
Save that for them.
Save that for them?
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah, it's a very good idea for them, because we'll say something and then if you ask them, it'll completely contradict it.
You're going to tell us
on.
they were really happy about it, aren't you?
No,
but
because that would be an out and out lie.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Not like you told your mum.
No.
Can I just ask, your is it called a boat, or do you just call it a yacht?
Boat.
A boat, right.
We call it a boat.
Yeah. All
Yacht
right.
sounds a bit posh for that, Susan.
And tell us about the name. Tell us what the name of your yacht is, your boat.
Go on, honey.
So the boat used to be called, when we first bought the boat, she was called Grey Girl.
Oh.
I know,
exactly.
See?
Yeah.
So dull.
It is.
So dull. And we never called her Grey Girl. We just call her the boat all the time. And we kind of wanted her to be part of the family. So we used to have a little camper van that we called Bogey, and we'd go out in Bogey, and we'd go and see Bogey, and we'd do this in Bogey. It was never the van. So we wanted something that we could call a name. So I can't remember why did we choose Susan?
I got drunk.
Oh, that's right.
Really?
So
every night.
Imagine. So he was on his
I
way
can't believe
back
it. In a
from
previous life, I used to drink alcohol. Not like nowadays. No, obviously I wasn't.
You had a glass of wine on the way back from London or something.
Yeah.
And he decided Susan would be perfect because, what's the film called?
Monsters
versus Aliens.
Oh, right.
You remember that film?
Yes,
and
I do.
Joy Normica.
Yes.
Who's a massive, great big thing in a grey jumpsuit.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
And that's kind of what she's named after, is that, and she was Susan.
Because she's big and because she's grey.
Because she's big
if you've
and
not
grey.
seen it,
Yes,
she's got a grey hull. Yeah.
And the boat just seemed massive to us at the time. So it's going to be Susan. But Susan's also quite dull, isn't it, really?
Yeah, not
Susan.
Shushan from
Not
Johnny
Shushan.
England.
No.
Johnny English.
Definitely
Yes,
not.
No.
No.
Not that.
So she's going to be Susan. So I sent the name in, because we have to change the name. And then we went away with our friends Emma and Bianca to the Isle of Wight for the weekend. Took them all over on the boat, and as we were coming into the marina, we called in and said, "Can you not raft us up 4 deep like you did last time we were here? Because it's a really heavy boat." And they rafted us up next to the little boats. because we're really heavy. And our friend Bianca said, so she's Fat Susan.
Oh.
And by the end of the weekend, we just called her Fat Susan all weekend.
Yeah.
And then on the Monday morning, I rang up Swansea and got the name changed to Fat Susan.
Well,
and that's kind of where it came from.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
And so your blog was called Growing a Pair.
Growing a Pair,
as in just the two lads.
Well, and you know what growing a pair means, though, don't you?
Yeah, well, I do.
Oh, sorry, bye.
Yeah, anyway, Liz will carry on.
No, go on. Right, sorry, go on. Silly Liz.
Yes, and your YouTube channel.
It's
called Growing a Pair on Fat
Growing
Susan.
a Pair on Fat
which
Susan.
just sounds great, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yes.
And everyone we've talked to and say they've got this YouTube channel called Growing a Pair on Fat Susan. They just
well,
you can't say that.
That's wholly inappropriate. We're not watching those fellows.
Yes.
What is wrong with them? Jesus.
So, anyway, that's what I was trying
But I didn't know that you knew what growing a pair means. You do know, though, don't you?
Well, I worked it out from when you said at the start. So, because I was using my brain.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if you thought that it just meant growing a pair of boys.
So anyway.
You know your YouTube
The best
channel.
part of your... I'd just like to butt in here. The best part of your podcast is...
YouTube.
Stop bickering.
If you two carry on, I'll get a cup of coffee and we can just watch YouTube.
Yeah. Go back and get the boat.
Just touching on your YouTube channel, and then I'm going to just come back to the kids because we homeschooled, so it's fascinating to hear about how. And I know we can talk to the kids about that, but just touching on your YouTube channel, I know that you didn't ever do that channel for, to show the world what you were doing. You always did it for your family, didn't you, to document. Mm-hmm. And it is so good. It's like watching a TV drama. It's just so addictive. And watching you, and I love that you actually didn't do it for views because it's so natural and it's so real, and that's why it's so addictive. So
and just your voiceovers, just lovely, relaxed, and just hey, we're doing this.
Yeah,
and it's not like
But I wanted to ask you because I know that when we went travelling with our kids, whenever I got the camera out, because we would have loved to have vlogged it, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we ended up just taking pictures.
Because the kids gave us such a hard time. Every time we got the camera out, they were like, "Oh, here we go again," video in it. So it started to give me a bit of an inferiority complex. I was like,
rude.
I know it was very rude, and I just thought, I don't want to ruin their trip, and I don't want to be this mum that's always like, doing that,
grabbing a camera in the face.
I wonder how you got over that. Did it feel the same for you? Or
we have the opposite problem with our kids in that Evan sometimes just takes the camera off me and goes, "Oh God, you're using your video voice again, let me do it." And he's so natural. And he'll take the camera and he'll go around and say, this is that, and that's the other. And he just does it in his normal voice, doesn't he?
Yes.
And then he accuses me of having video voice. So, but yeah, it is difficult. It was difficult to start with, but I wasn't doing it to show other people. I was only doing it for me.
Yeah.
I didn't intend to start it.
No, you didn't.
Video. I did that, and it only started when we were in lockdown in Panama.
Right.
Just because somebody, a TV producer, rang us up and said, we're making a documentary for Channel 4, and we're looking for people who are stuck in lockdown on their boats, and we want to follow their stories of how they get out of lockdown and make their way back to the UK and stuff. And we said, well, we're not going back to the UK. We're going to head towards into the Pacific. And she said, well, we'll use you as well then, so as somebody who's doing something different.
Right.
But it never went ahead in the end. But she had me doing all this videoing, didn't she? She had me interviewing the boys, and that's kind of how it started. Before that, I hadn't taken any.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's how it started, and then we carried on. And I made a video of what we'd done. I thought, well, actually, that's quite good. That's a really good memory for us.
Yeah.
And then I've carried on making them since then. So I didn't intend to be a YouTube channel,
right?
And we're not still. But
it's a great way to document your trip.
Yeah.
It is
for yourselves more than anything.
Yeah.
Or just your life in general.
I wish we'd done that.
Yeah,
It's
done it for us,
I wish as hands, and the thing is we would have taken a load of video. But we didn't have computers to probably edit them up.
Yeah.
We weren't. Well, we
didn't
did
do it when we were backpacking.
No.
Yeah. It's too hard when you're travelling because you don't really
photographs. But
spend that much time.
So going to the school side of it, what were your plans there? I mean, did you just not have any, or?
So again, Floss did tons and tons of research, and she's brought all of the UK curriculum books. So we've got of all the subjects that they've been doing. We have all of the GCSE books, and the kids have just worked through those books.
Basically, we knew we weren't going to have internet much.
Yeah.
So we couldn't do online courses or anything like that. So we were going to learn from books. And we also didn't, because it was such an open-ended thing, we didn't know where we'd be able to sit GCSEs and things like that, even if we got that far. So we went with the IGCSE, the International GCSE syllabus. So, because there are 160 odd countries that you can sit the exams then. You don't have to go back to the UK to do it. And it's not coursework based, so it's all kind of exam based. And we've been working through those.
Right.
So that's what we chose.
Yeah.
We chose the IGCSE.
And you've done a fantastic job. I mean, hopefully, like I say, we will be able to interview the boys, but wow, those kids are just, they're amazing.
So you know the question, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, you got the question?
Yes, if we're standing on a 6-metre bridge.
No. They have to work out how high the bridge is. You drop the stone and you time how long it takes to get to the water.
To hit the water.
Do you want me to write this down for you, Brian? Because you seem to be struggling.
Yeah. Did we use a stopwatch, or do we go one and what if it only takes...
No, you've got phones, stopwatch.
What if it only takes half a second and it doesn't really register?
Get a higher bridge.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Find a bridge where it takes 2 seconds to get to the bottom. Yeah.
At least. Yeah. All right.
So tell us a story about where you've just said now, but then we decided we weren't going back and we were going to go to the Pacific. How did it go from setting out and thinking we'll just go to Portugal and Med and things like that to where you are now? What happened along the way?
If you dream of moving to New Zealand, then you are going to love what I'm about to share with you. 12 years ago, when me and Bri emigrated to New Zealand, we were scouring the internet, trying to find any information that we could about what our life would be like when we got here. And basically all we had was YouTube. So we made this vow. We said, when we get to New Zealand, we're going to create something that we can share with others that answers those questions that you're so desperate to know about. Like, what is your life going to be like when you get here? And that's what I'm here to offer you today. We have created a 5-day absolutely free video guide that shows you what it's really like to live in New Zealand. This stuff is unique and it is fabulous. You are not going to find it anywhere else on the internet. And like I say, it's absolutely free. You'll be sent a video every day for 5 days and you will know what it's like in New Zealand. So head over to the website. It's www.nzahead/free. One more time, that's www.nzahead/free. You are going to love it.
We'll just go to Portugal and the Med and things like that to where you are now. What happened along the way?
Well, we didn't find Portugal, so that kind of spoiled things. We did get to the Canaries.
Yeah.
And
so why didn't you find Portugal?
We did actually.
But
we
did stop at Portugal, and then we worked our way down Morocco, and then we got to the Canary Islands and decided we were definitely going across the Atlantic to to Barbados, and then we worked our way around there for a bit.
But you just went like that, as if like
just went
across the Atlantic. Yeah, but
that's how it was.
But you find that because you've done it, you don't think it's such a big thing.
Yeah, probably.
And that's what confuses me.
Because for the past couple of years, we've only really talked to other people who are also on boats doing the same thing. So it kind of doesn't seem. And we didn't just do that bit. Actually, the boat broke, and we had to keep hauling it out because it kept breaking all the time. So we ended up doing a completely different route to the one we'd expected to, and I ended up in Grenada because that was the first time the prop seal had broken. We had to get a hauled out to change that.
So hauled out means for people who don't lift it out of the water.
Take it out of the water, we had to find somewhere and there aren't that many places on little islands where you can take the boat at a 43-foot. Heavy boat out.
And what do you do once it's out of the water? Do you still live on it?
Yeah.
You do? All right.
Yes. Yes.
Can I just ask, inside your boat, I did try and ask this before, but I got a little bit off sidetracked, but how many bedrooms have you got? And is there
12, isn't it?
Yeah.
24.
Well, there are restrictions because of
4 metre super yacht.
liability.
Yeah.
So the crew all sleep in the separate quarters at the front. The chef and everything. Yeah, so it's quite a small boat. So we have 2 cabins. There's a cabin at the back, which is ours, and then there's a cabin close to the front, which the boys share.
Right. And then you've got like a loungy area, haven't you?
Yeah.
What do you call that?
There's a saloon in the middle with a table.
Yes.
And then on one side there's a galley, and the other side is the navigation station.
Is a galley the kitchen? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So
you've got that
galley.
little area, like you say, with your computer and your tracker and,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
And the radar and, all the electronics. And a little table.
And your cooker's on a gimbal thing?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
cooker's gimbaled, yeah.
Yeah.
when
Does
you
it go
say you-
frontwards and backwards, or does it just
No,
go side to side?
side to side.
It's silly, isn't it, really?
So when you say you took your brother for that
Don't go
first...
down the weight!
Don't go
When you say you took your brother for that first part, where did he sleep?
with the boys.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. So above the 2 bunks for the boys,
Yeah.
there's like rolly out bunks,
Right.
which are more like hammocks, really.
Okay.
And the 3, Sam, Evan and Adam,
Yeah.
slept in the front there as well.
Right.
And also, when we came across the Atlantic, our 2 friends, Andy and Eleanor, came across, and they a married couple, shared the forward cabin with the boys in 4 bunk beds. Very, very tiny, very cramped. They did very well. They really did. It can't have been easy.
No, it can't.
And also, because they're at the front of the boat, if the weather's big, they're the ones that get thrown around.
It's a bit like being on a sleeper bus.
Yeah.
Don't go to the back.
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
Go in the middle.
Yeah.
So you're in Barbados,
Yes.
and did you just think, oh, I know, let's push on to New Zealand then now we're here? Well, how did this work out?
No, we thought we could probably get as far as Panama.
Right.
So that's where we were heading. So we were going to work our way down and around and up to Panama. And then we didn't have a plan after that, did we really?
No.
And then as we got to Panama, we thought, well, actually, we could perhaps go through the Panama Canal and carry on.
But when you were in the Caribbean, did you have a gun on board the boat?
Gun?
Gun, just in case any pirates.
I was going to ask about that. Are you scared of pirates? Or is there no such thing?
Oh, there are.
Are there?
Yeah, particularly around Venezuela. It's quite
Really?
piratey.
Yeah,
So-
it's quite piratey in places.
Yeah.
So when we left Curacao to go to Colombia, you have to sail really close to Venezuela. So we timed that passage such that the weather was good, so we could scoot past really quickly, and we did it during the daytime, so we could see people coming.
Yeah.
And we had loads of fuel on board, such that if we needed to stick the engine on as well, the sails, we could.
It is a slight worry.
I was going to say, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
It's like, but you don't imagine that happens. Do you know anyone that's ever been?
Yeah.
Apart from Tom Hanks.
Yeah, yeah, we've met a few people actually. In when we were going through Panama just before COVID, there was that year there were quite a few incidents in Panama or along the Panama coast, the Atlantic coast, of people being robbed on their boats and
Really?
and worse. Yeah.
Was that frightening for you?
Yeah, a little bit. So you are more wary of local boats and fishing boats and things like that. But you can't be, if you're just scared of everything, then you'd never do anything.
Would you? It's no different
I
than
love
walking
your
around New York,
attitude,
isn't
Floss.
it? You know,
I love your
Well, it's the same attitude. Yeah, you've got. I mean, you did a podcast of people ask you how have you managed to leave the UK and do all of the stuff you've done, and people say, well, it's just sometimes you've just got to do something that's a little bit frightening.
Yeah.
Or you just have to step up and say, I'd like to sail around the world on a boat, and you don't leave the conversation that I want to sail around the world on a boat.
Yeah.
But I can't because I don't have enough money, and I've got kids who go to school, and I've got a job, and I've got this and a mortgage and all that crap. It's, well, I'd like to go sailing around the world on a boat.
Basically, if you overthink it, you'd never do anything. So
No, you wouldn't, would you?
No.
Yeah.
I love that attitude. I absolutely love it. And yeah, you are right. People do say to us, but let's face it, that's not the same. Moving to New Zealand is not the same as getting in a boat with your 2 kids going in the middle of the ocean and thinking, oh, I hope some pirates don't come. Well, because you're not going to die in New Zealand, are you? It's not like we're not sitting here building our house thinking, oh, someone's going to come and kill us and rob our boat.
You hear the gangs in New Zealand, don't you?
It's still a big step.
But it's
a big step, and it's something that a lot of people think about doing but don't.
Actually, you're so right, because we were talking to someone when we went to the UK. We were talking to someone, I think we've said about this before, and they said, oh, New Zealand, no, it's full of gangs, isn't it? And they were serious. Yeah, they were like, we wouldn't go, no, it's just full of gangs, dangerous and all alcoholics and all beating up everyone, and it's just like, hang on a minute, what?
No.
But they truly believed that, and it was like, oh no. So yeah, you are. It's like you say. It's can't remember what my point is now, but it's just like
It's about you think that you need to try and make it as safe as you can, but at the end of the day, other people do it.
I'm not telling you to get on with the interview. No, you do.
I thought you meant just get on with it, Liz.
No, oh my word, you really are insecure about something.
I'm used to working with Brian going, come on, time.
But it's about just, if you want something, then if you want it, you just have to go and make it happen. Yeah. So we've done.
The pirates were scary.
Yeah,
they were. But when we left to pick Adam up, pirates weren't a concern. It was.
Oh no, that's true.
You have a concern about something.
In Falmouth, though, do you?
No, but it's used to. But it's based on your horizons and your outlook and stuff. You know, if you're that focused on. Well, we've just left home, we're going to go on this big adventure, and we've got 10 days to get to Falmouth, then you just get on with that. Yeah. And then it's, now we need to cross Biscay because we've got to there's nowhere else to go from this point. So we'll get on with Biscay, and then we'll do Portugal. And then we bumped into another family boat who said, well, we're going to go to Morocco because it's easier to go to the Canaries via Morocco than it is to go straight from here. Yeah. And we go, oh, is it? Well, we'll do that then. And a lot of
us.
Yeah.
Which they didn't. If you're listening, Jeremy. Knob. Jeremy's lovely, but
you can cut that out.
Yeah,
no. Tell me about that.
Well, this was our first experience of buddy boating, and we said, well, we'll go to Morocco together.
He's just a much faster sailor than we are.
Well, he knows how to sail.
Right.
So he's a yachtmaster instructor. He knows how to sail.
Right. Yes.
And he's probably got a faster boat.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but he went so much faster.
So we sailed.
So we're pottering along at 4.5, 5 knots, and he just shot off at 7 knots because the AIS thing, as well as telling you where boats are, it tells you what heading they're at and how fast they're going.
Yeah.
And we could see him doing 7.5 knots, just disappearing over the horizon, and we're going. I thought we were sailing together.
Yeah.
We don't even know where Morocco is.
Couldn't we?
Do you know what that reminds me of? When people follow you in the car. You're an idiot when people follow you, Brian.
No.
Because you never wait. Especially my mum and Kev, right? They've got this little RAV4 and we say, let's drive over to Towport together or something like that. And literally, my mum always says, she's like, well, there was no point, Lizzie, because he's gone miles and miles ahead, doesn't wait. That's what it's like, though. Annoying when people do that, isn't it, Des?
Yeah,
totally.
There's a speed limit. Isn't there, Floss? Because I know that you were once a travelling rep, and it's like it is a target. The speed limit.
No, it's a limit.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It's a target, isn't it? You've got to do at least the speed limit.
It's a target.
Come on.
You need to leave behind.
Exactly.
Speed limit for losers.
To be fair to Jeremy, though, he did on the radio. He did try and make us go faster.
He did. Tighten the mainsail.
Yeah,
he was.
We're like, we can't go any faster than this. And he's going, right, so pull this in and pull that. And he's trying to trim our sails for us from another boat, like 2 miles
over the horizon.
And in the end, he gave up.
Yeah.
Because our sails are still more or less the original sails, and they're really baggy. So he had new sails, and we had really old sails. And in the end, he gave up. But he did try.
He did.
But he didn't slow down.
But he did have to anchor in the middle of the night outside a really busy port in Morocco.
Oh, because he was too early.
Yeah. Then they had a really rolly night as all these cargo ships kept hooning past. And we had a lovely little potter. Yeah. We turned up just as the sun came up.
That was my first proper bioluminescence while I was on the helm, because it was completely black.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's beautiful.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But that's how the whole trip happened. So it wasn't we get to Barbados and then we're going to go to Grenada. Yeah. We met another boat with kids on in the Canaries. Right. The kids got on really well. And when we actually left to go across the Atlantic, we were aiming for St. Lucia.
Right.
And they were aiming for Barbados. And the kids were going, well, why can't we go to Barbados? Why do we have to go to St. Lucia? And we don't know, really.
Yeah.
That was with Sea Line as well.
It was Sea Line, yeah. So we said, oh, well, we can go to Barbados if you want. Right, that's what we'll do. So we just went to Barbados.
What year was it that COVID? So it was 20. Where were you in 2020?
We were just coming up
2019. Yeah, it was
the coast of Panama. We'd kind of decided we were going to go through the Panama Canal at that point. and we were in the Sandblas Islands, and it was quite clearly going to be a problem. So we went to the canal really quickly to try and go through. But the day we got there, everything locked down.
Right.
So, and we ended up in the marina for 3 months.
But so why did they stop you going through a canal?
Well, everything shut. So
Just shut.
Yeah, the whole Panama Canal closed for a little while, only for a couple of days, I think, and then they opened it to the big boats.
Right.
But they wouldn't let anything smaller than 16 metres go through.
Right. And how many metres is that, Susan?
13. 13.2.
Right.
Couldn't have got a plank.
Some people tried.
Did they?
So when you go
plank, make it a bit longer.
When you go through the canal, they have people who come on board and measure your boat because you pay for the size of the boat.
Yeah, yeah.
And some people did say, well, if I get a big piece of bamboo and put a bowsprit on them, because then that's yachty, and then they come and measure me and I'm over the 20 metres, will you let me go through?
Oh, it's 20 metres.
Yeah,
20 metres.
yeah, 60 foot.
Right.
And unsurprisingly, they said no.
Yeah.
But the reason is, when you go through the canal, you have to go up and down the locks, and it's actually quite a manual process. So you need people on the boat to help with that.
So 16 metres, what's that? 50 foot? Something? Or?
Which one? So we're 13. So
You're 13, sorry.
Yes, we're 43 foot.
43 foot.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, just gives me an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How did it affect you with COVID? With everything you were doing, how did it affect you?
Well, we were locked down for 3 months in a marina.
When you say locked down, were you not allowed off your boat?
We were allowed off the boat. We'd kind of made a bubble in the marina, but we weren't allowed out of the marina. The marina is at the top of the Panama Canal, but it's a good drive into anywhere, is it? It's in a nature reserve, so it's miles from anywhere.
How did you get food?
There was a little shop in the marina,
right?
But nobody to run it. So we kind of all... There was one person there, wasn't there, running the shop. But she was... Yeah.
She had to leave because her husband needed an operation.
That's true.
So it was run by the cruisers.
It's run by the people in the marina. So I used to go and mop the floors. Des would go and chop up chicken and
stack shelves and stuff.
Shelves and things.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
There was somebody else
cleaning the toilets. Who brought the stuff in? Like or did you just use what was there?
So the shop owner would arrange for the shop to get restocked, and a refrigerated truck would turn up every other day, or there'd be a delivery every other day, and the guys would park just at the entrance to the marina, empty the stuff, drive off, and then we'd have to disinfect it and then put it into the shop.
Wow.
Was there enough to go round, or was it like the load turned up and everyone was like, ah?
Oh no!
Just like...
No, we weren't. There was none of that starvation stuff. The range is quite limited,
right?
But there was always enough stuff,
right?
So, yeah, and all the boats were all packed full of food anyway, because with boats we're always well provisioned, so all the bilges are full of food.
Can you just talk about the food side of it? What do you eat when you're on a yacht out at sea?
Yeah, you're 800 miles or from anywhere. What's
just food?
Like what?
So,
what would be your breakfast?
Cornflakes.
Cornflakes.
Yeah.
With dried milk.
UHT.
We use UHT milk.
UHT.
So we'd have boxes and boxes of UHT.
And do you have that cold or what? Or no, like
we do have a fridge on board.
Right.
Yep.
No freezer. We did have a freezer for a while, but it's broken.
So
we do have a fridge, but it's a tiny little triangle. Tiny little triangle fridge. So we can still, but when you're on a passage, for example, you have fresh food runs out, and the fruit runs out quite quickly.
Right.
So then it's tinned.
Tinned food.
So what would you have for your dinner, for example?
Once all the fresh stuff's run out, then chickpeas. Use a lot of chickpea curries, and everything was pretty much made from scratch. We'd always have flour on board, so we could make our own bread, and we could make pancakes, and eggs last a long time. So we'd have eggs.
Do you have any dried meats or anything like that, or is it just?
No, we didn't really bother with dried meats, did we?
No, because if it goes off, then you can't really have it. So for the first few days of a passage, you can have veg and meat and stuff. Yeah, so it quite quickly becomes a vegetarian diet.
Yeah.
Floss does all the cooking, and frankly, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So people imagine it's going to be starvation.
You had to say that, didn't
you? Lose weight.
No.
Over a long passage.
No, we didn't.
I imagine you would. Yeah.
We also don't drink any alcohol while we're sailing.
Right.
So if we've got 32 days it took us to get across the Pacific. So
Oh my God.
Why would you do that?
Well, that'd be enough to put you off.
Because
wouldn't it?
there's nowhere else to stop.
Liz has changed her mind about living on a boat.
No,
But you just make up for it once you get to where you're going.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's one of the things my mum asked when I said we're now going to go across the Atlantic in that slow release of information. She goes, "Oh, so will you be able to stop anywhere on the way?" And I said, "Yeah, Mum, it's okay. We'll be able to put the anchor down. It's only 4 kilometres deep." And she goes, "Oh, well, that's all right then. So it'd be nice to have a rest, won't it?" No, Mum, sorry, we won't be able to stop. But we are taking more people with us, so then we can all get proper sleep.
Yes.
But a lot of people think you can just stop.
I know. Well, you do, don't you? And like you say, you're over the Mariana Trench or whatever it is, and it's a long way down.
There is so much more that I want to ask you. I mean, this is a conversation that could just go on for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, we love talking about us.
Yeah. But but we were aware that also we're holding you're on your way up to Raglan, you're on your holidays, and so we are aware that we're taking up some of your time.
Yes,
we
are.
We appreciate you sitting down and chatting with us, but we just want to how did it's the New Zealand thing, right? You know, how did you decide on New Zealand? You know, when did you sit and say, should we go to New Zealand?
Oh, we haven't had a choice. It's the only place that's open.
Oh, right. Okay. Right.
We'd love to have had that.
So we came through the Panama Canal, and then after we got to French Polynesia, everything else past French Polynesia was closed. And that was a year ago, and we thought by November we'd be able to get through to New Zealand and maybe Australia, whichever one opens, and that'll be fine. And then a year later, it's still closed. So
Right.
It's just been a rolling
disaster. Yeah. So the only reason we've managed to come in here is because the boat now needs so much work doing to it that we have a quite a large amount of money. So we're here on a special visa so we can refit the boat.
Right. So, am I right in saying this, that the New Zealand government said, okay, you can come in as long as you invest $50,000 by spending money to do up your boat?
Yes.
Right.
With a New Zealand company or something.
With a New Zealand.
So we spend that money in New Zealand.
Right. Okay.
And yes.
And
there's so much work to do anyway that we would have spent that anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're here in New Zealand, you're living in Whangarei, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, we're living in your house at the minute.
Yeah, you're here.
You're making out that we've got somewhere else to go, which is lovely of you. I love that innocence and naivety. Bless you.
You're sleeping in the car tonight. Yeah.
And you've decided, you've moved to New Zealand, you've come to New Zealand and you decided you're going to give it a just true Dez and Floss style, just living one bit.
Why don't we give it a go?
Flying by the seat of your arse.
Yeah. Well, the seat of your pants. Seat of your pants. The lack of money.
Yeah.
So
we need to earn money. So we're going to stay here and give it 6 months and see how we get on.
Mm-hmm.
See how you get on.
Put the kids in school. I'll try and get a job. Floss will get a job.
Right.
And just see where we are in 6 months. Which to us feels like a much braver and a bigger step than buying a boat and disappearing from Portsmouth.
Isn't that funny? Because you said that at breakfast today, and I loved what you said, because we were talking about sharks, and you know, Tess was there and the kids, and we were all saying, "Oh, aren't you scared of sharks?" And you said, "Living in a house scares me more than going in a sea full of sharks."
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, sharks have got such a bad rap. I mean, they don't eat people. As Sam said at breakfast, more people die putting their trousers on in the morning than get eaten by sharks. So the chances of you jumping in and finding a shark who's hungry and big enough to kill you is pretty much nothing. And if you jump in and you see them, and you can tell when they're hunting and when they're just larking about, you just get out. And we've had that experience where we've been swimming with sharks, and one of them comes in and he behaves differently.
Right.
So you say, right, we'll just leave at this point. But living in a house, you know, we've come here and we've had to buy a car, and it's not like going and buying breakfast, because you have to buy a car and then you have to register the car, then you have to insure the car, then you have to maintain the car and do all this. And now I've got a commitment of a car to look after, as well as looking after the boat and the family. And then if we get a house, then we're going to have to look after the house, and we're going to have to buy sofas and beds and TVs, and I'm going to have to sign a contract for internet and all of this other stuff that comes with living in a house. Whereas living on the boat, our world is 43 foot from one end to the other. You know, people say, how did you survive through lockdown? Because you're all living together in that small space. We've always lived in a small space, and it's much more. I find it much more freeing, just having everything you own you can see. Yeah. One of the things we got the kids to do was during lockdown in Panama was work out how much space do we have, because we have friends in the UK who live in big houses, and they're all complaining about being squashed in the house 24 hours a day, and it's terrible. So how much space have we got? And they went diligently measuring bits of floor and came up with 8 square meters. So we have 8 square meters of space for the 4 of us. But that I don't think that's ever really been a problem for us. We've never once said, I can't stand living on this boat with you a minute longer, I've got to get off or I'm going to kill one of you. You just kind of get on with it, and that's one of the greatest joys, gifts, best things about what we've done is that we've spent so much time with the kids that we've had none of the teenager problems about, I'm not having you taking my photograph, I'm not going to do that for you, why are we doing this, I hate that, I hate the other, can't we do. It's just they just get on with it, and we're so close as a family. We did a hike a couple of days ago, and Floss was struggling with something, and I've got a picture of I was lagging behind and Sam's holding Mum's hand and Evan's got his arm around her. That's made me cry.
Yeah, no, but it is, and that's
baby.
But that freedom, I think it's a freedom thing that freedom gives us. Has been such a gift, and people say, "Aren't you brave, having done it?" And I think it would have been braver not to.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Yeah. It is, because it's that special time that you spend with them, and then you become that unit.
Yeah,
and no one can take that away from you. They never can from now on,
they can't take the experience away. But the thought of us giving the kids to school and saying, well, now you're going to be responsible for their education, and can you get him some A-levels, and can he have some GCSEs, please? And you're responsible for delivering that. Handing that responsibility over, and not being able to be part of that, I find that really difficult, and I think it's a braver step for us to go back into like normal life than it was for us to walk away from it, because our focus is the 4 of us, and it's the 43 foot that we have on Susan, and if something goes wrong, then it's down to us to fix it. We can't say you haven't got any GCSEs because the school's crap, or this didn't happen because they didn't do that. There's none of that giving responsibility over to anybody else. Everything that happens and has happened for 3.5 years, or the 6 years that we've been knobbing about travelling, has been down to us doing it and having that control, and ceding that control to other people and making them responsible for the kids' education, or something trivial like that, or they haven't come to empty the bins, so I'm now going to have to ring the council up and complain about that. We don't have any of that problem. We have a problem with rubbish and recycling and how to deal with it, but it's our problem. So you look at stuff and, well, we're not buying that because that's an avocado wrapped in plastic on a plastic tray with more plastic wrapped around it, so we aren't buying that because that's just a problem that we're going to have to deal with. We'll go to the market over the road and we'll buy an avocado that you just pick up and put in your bag. And having that sort of control is much more liberating, and I find easier to live with than doing other stuff, like being normal, having to hoover, having to clean the windows, all of that stuff.
I totally get you. I totally understand what you're saying.
You want to buy a boat, because we might have one for sale.
Yeah, you can have the house and swap it.
That's just such a gorgeous way of putting it. I really feel, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, because you guys haven't.
Well, we talked about that last night, didn't we? It's like one of my happiest days is when I handed the keys over of the house when we went travelling. Yeah. And the worst day was coming back,
picking them up.
Because you go back into that life that you've left. Yeah. And now you've got to pick up the pieces and do it again, and it's just like, what are we doing? Yeah. You know what? We just keep this going, But I know the kids are getting to an age where you think, yes, and everybody else. Yeah. Well,
that's the thing.
Don't ever stop.
But
please don't ever stop.
But the kids are ready there comes a point where the children stop being children and they need to transition through to that adult thing, and we've eased that, I think, as we've pushed that point as far as we can, particularly with Sam.
Sam is 16, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 16, and at 16 he needs to be finding his own way in the world, and hopefully we've shown him enough of how the world works and how people work to be able to find his way through that and do something that makes him happy and feel fulfilled.
Yeah. The thing is I've always tried to say, and I've said it before on podcasts and things, is like, just keep your kids as long as they can, because they've got the rest of their life to be an adult, and it's just like, if they can hold on as long as they can, you know, even if it's like, 18, whatever. It's just like, it's such a short time when you're a child. But I know it's your whole life when you're a child, but
yes, absolutely,
it's so short, isn't it? Like,
you know what I can see you four doing? I could just see you like 5 years time, whatever. You both have yachts, and you'll just be like meeting up, like, racing across the world and meeting at each destination. And I can't imagine you ever really having a normal, traditional, conventional life. And it's just, I think,
Have you heard of the phrase "normal for Norfolk"?
No.
Well, so stuff happens in Norfolk because it's part of the UK that's isolated from it, and from an outsider, stuff that goes on in Norfolk looks really weird. But if you live in Norfolk, this is normal. This is how we live, yeah? And people look at our lives and think, God, that's so weird, isn't it? They've done this and they've done that, and that's so amazing. And we think, it's a bit average, really. It would have been much braver if we said we were going to go and sail to... What if we'd sailed to Venezuela? We've only done half of it, for God's sake. And we've done the half that speaks mostly English. There's all that stuff in Asia over there that we haven't touched, and
more pirates there, I believe, as well.
Much more,
way more piratey. But the I guess is to wrap this up. When I left, when we left, my idea for the kids was they've got to get GCSEs, they've got to get A-levels, they've got to go to university, and they're going to get a proper job and be happy and fulfilled, because that is the route that I was sold, and that's what I've done.
And the majority of people are sold that.
And I was so happy with it that after 20 years I said, screw this, we're going to do something else. And that's how happy and rewarded I was. But I still wanted to impose that future on the kids.
Isn't it funny though? That's like that early programming, isn't it? That's it. Yeah.
But not so much when they were little and we went backpacking, because when they're that age it's reading and writing and adding up and taking away. But since we've come away and they've grown and you can see them grow, if they don't get A-levels, they don't go to university, I'm not really that bothered. No. As long as they do something that makes them feel as happy and as fulfilled as I feel about what we've done, then that's a win.
It's a win, isn't it?
That's it.
It's a
and
win.
Everything we'll have done on the boat and the backpacking and the build up to it will have been worth it.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, thank you so much.
But that's 100. I just thanks for sharing that. That was just
Now what we should do is get the kids and get them to say the same thing, and I guarantee they won't come up with that.
Yes.
Thank God the parents did this, because they're so brilliant and I feel so fulfilled.
No, but
let's stop.
What you've said, I've always said, it's like the Wizard of Oz. When the Scarecrow asks the wizard for a brain, and he gives him a certificate to say, "Oh, you're clever." Yeah. The guy's just done what he's just done. He's fought off this and that and a witch and all that sort of stuff. And that's so true with life, isn't it? Like, it's just like, it's like I was told, you need this, you need that, you need to go and do this, and I ended up dropping out of school because I just hated it so much and thought, well, I'll just do whatever I want to do and be a tradie or whatever, like, and I just never really looked back from that moment. But some people are like, you've got to get an education. How else are you going to?
You do have an education.
No, it's an education, but it's not like a second, high school. As in, you get your A-levels, your O-level, your a degree in this and this, that, and the other. And I never did that, but I can understand people wanting to do it. But there's so many people that go to uni, like you say, and then come out of it, and it's just like, I don't want to be this. I don't want to do that. And I know it's not easy for everybody, and that's the only way forward. But
I think what Des just said actually sums it up perfectly, is you do all this to feel this sense of happiness. At the end of it, you're promised this, if you do this and get this and be that, you're going to feel this way. But actually, what you've just described that's what made you actually feel that way. You've never felt happier in your life. You can see both of you, all your whole family are just so together and so successful. You know, as a family, it's just like, wow. You know, it's gorgeous to look at. You know, and it's like, isn't that everyone's dream? Isn't that what we're all doing it for? To be able to go to bed at night and think, absolutely. I'm happy, you know.
Yeah, there's no point having kids unless you use them.
No,
you've got to. You bring these people into the world, and you do it for a reason. It's not just because we've run out of things to talk about. Yeah. Why don't we have some children? It's not. Yeah. That's not how it's meant to be. You know, you bring them into the world. You've got a responsibility to them. Yeah. And people have. We've been around people who you meet people for the first time, and I rib the kids mercilessly about almost everything, and I say stuff, and you looked at me last night, I said something and you went, ooh, that's a bit much. Actually, I think I'm taking the piss out of you. Actually, might have been nothing you then. Yeah. It wasn't even one of the kids. But we've been with people and they've gone, ooh, that's a bit much, but the kids just accept, you know, and they know
just soak it up and give it back.
They'll give it back, and they're so confident about that stuff.
Yes,
that, you know, it makes me so proud. Like, you know, last night they were talking to Tess, and we sat at one end of the table, did grown up stuff, and they sat talking about young people stuff, and we've never met before. Your kids have never met our kids.
And a 22-year-old.
Yeah, they've never met, but they just got on with each other, and then they did the washing up. I mean,
even better. What more can you ask for?
Sorted. We cracked it.
Yeah, we failed it. Right, come on.
Parenting tick.
Yeah, we're done. Let's move on.
This is done.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Well, look, I'm going to round it up now and just want to say thank you so much for joining us and sharing, for coming to visit us for a start and being with us.
Anything for free.
Yeah, and just sharing your story, because I know when I first asked you, you were like, oh, you know, what do you want to do a podcast with us for? And it's like,
how many questions have you asked?
I haven't asked any of those questions, so that's a good
for the
sign.
Boys.
Yeah, that's a good
Stone
sign.
from a bridge.
But I would be really, I can't wait to see what you do in the next 6 months. You know, I know whatever you do is just going to be
not the only one.
Amazing. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just want to say thanks and
very welcome.
Whenever it all goes wrong, you just hoist the mainsail and go into the sunset.
It won't, though, will it?
No, it won't. It's because you just
change.
Yeah, you know what you want to do, and there's things that you just got to crack on and get it done. Yeah, and see how it goes.
And we're hoping, by the way, because two of our cameras have stopped working. So if this is going out, this might have just been a chat between the four of us, which that's fantastic. But hopefully we can put it out. And if it goes out and the sound is a bit dodgy, Brian, you know, don't start fretting about it, Brian. If it's a bit dodgy, they understand. They just want to see.
But now they don't sync anymore because they've gone off, so they'll never.
So if we're talking and our mouths are moving 2 minutes later,
there's going to be a lot of editing.
If it just ends up being an audio podcast, mine and Liz's audio will be awful because you'll hear the dog bark and the farmer and the
that's fine. People don't care, do you?
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you so much.
Welcome.
You're very welcome.
Good luck.
And thank you for last night and this one. It's been brilliant.
Oh no, it's been an honour to have you here.
Yeah, it really has.
It is to see someone on YouTube and then you meet them in real life. It's just like, wow, these are real people. Yeah. It's a bit like Sam said last night. It's so weird looking at you and seeing a noise coming, or your voice coming out your head, or your face, not out of a speaker.
Yeah, because he's listened to your podcast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
it's really weird listening to that coming out of your face.
Yeah, coming out your face.
Right, I'm going to try again.
Yeah,
just really. You just I just want you to witness this, YouTube, because you are YouTube. No, every time
I say twice, I've said. And we'll stop there.
Every time I say, right, we're going to leave it there, then thank you so much, Brian goes, oh yeah, and there's that other time as well, wasn't there? You know, and then every time, Brian. All right, I'm going to leave it to you then. Say goodbye.
Cheers.
Which camera's working now?
They're all working.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast this week. We have loved having you here with us.
If you love this week's show, please share this with your friends. Send it to anybody you know that wants to think about moving to New Zealand, and get on over here yourself.
And tell them how brilliant it is as well. And also, if you haven't signed up for our free 5-day video guide showing you what life is like, really like, in New Zealand, then go over to the website and sign up. You are missing out. This is brilliant. Go over to www.nzahead.com/free and we will send you 5 days worth of videos about what life is like in New Zealand. You are going to love it. So one more time, that website that you need to sign up for the free 5-day guide is www.nzahead.com/free. So we're going to see you next week. Until then, have a great week and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Say bye again. Bye.
Bye.